Hi everyone, I'm Holly, and today I am going to make the holiday version of the Serendipity Soap. You might have seen the video, purchased the Serendipity Soap from the Rainbow release, and it was just like an ice cream sandwich looking thing. I scented it in like a rosemary mint, but this one is going to be more of a colorful Andes mint type. I'm still going to use chocolate and mint together, but I'm not using any rosemary in this particular combination. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit of bronze brown. I want this to be on its way to getting the brown color instead of just relying on the fragrance oil. It should go brown, but we're going to see if we can help it out. Fragrances with vanillin in them, such as chocolate, fragrance oils, they will discolor. And it's always kind of, you have to wait and see how dark it's going to go. Is it just going to be tan? Is it going to be brown? Is it going to be nearly black? You just have to wait and see. But sometimes it can get spotty as it's in the process of discoloration, and so I thought I would just go ahead and add in just a little bit of the brown so we don't necessarily see that as much. So I'm going to add in some coconut milk, and I just like to add a little bit and then add it to my oils. This is going to seem like a really small batch. This is going to be 3 parts for 1 soap. I am making 2 blocks of this soap, but because they're thin, I have to use quite a bit smaller amount of soap than normal. So that's the story. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the lye solution, and it does have some lye lint. It's gotten quite cold up here, and the quick cooling of the lye solution can cause some lye lint, but it's really not that big of a deal in the long run. So you don't want to do that because I just incorporated a whole bunch of bubbles into the batter. So it's already at a trace, so I'm counting on the fragrance oil to loosen it up a bit. And this fragrance oil is a peppermint bark type, so it's definitely got the chocolate notes and some mint. Still air bubbles in there. So this did thin it out quite a bit. I need to split this off evenly into some littler pitchers. I want these to be even because I am making the 2 batches side by side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get them poured in because I just want a nice, smooth, flat layer. And this is actually going to be 4 batches, I forgot, because I'm going to split off the middle batches into a batch each for the middle layer, just so that I make sure that I have plenty of time to work with those layers and the colors and everything. Otherwise, it can be really hard to get it nice and smooth. So I'm just going to kind of shimmy just to make sure that's leveled out. Now I am going to have to wait just a little while for these to set up because I don't want to have any issues with the next layer falling into this layer. I just really want it to be a nice flat layer, but I do need, because it's rather thin, I do need the time for it to set up. Now, we're just going to really hope that this table is level enough that these turn out okay. Okay, so getting started on one of the middle layers. I'm going to add in the coconut milk. And the lye solution. This is the same mixture I've been using for all of my peppermint soaps. So it is a mixture of peppermint essential oil and raw sugar and mint from Wholesale Supplies Plus. You can see it's getting bright yellow. But it does tone back down to the color that we want it to be. So I do want to split this off, so I need to work fairly quickly. So I bought these new cups, but I didn't realize I didn't buy them without handles. So let's see, I'm just going to just kind of wing it. Alright, so let's see, I have this at the, can't even see what the marking is on it. Okay, so into the big one, I'm going to make it a white. And the first thing I have is some white mica mixed up. I'm trying to make sure that I don't have a bunch of issue with titanium dioxide crackles. So we're just going to see how this goes first. I do also have some titanium dioxide here. And then I'm going to measure these. I have, this is 1 teaspoon, and I'm mostly just measuring so that I keep it equal. I'm going to do one here and see what it looks like. And this is a 1/2 teaspoon, so I actually need, let's see, let me double check this one. That's 1 teaspoon, so okay. So I put 1 teaspoon of my mixture into each one, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I think that will work. I think that'll be good enough. So I'm just going to start by pouring on some of the white, get it going. I don't know, I don't want it to sink in. Oh, geez. I often do that. Good golly. That's the problem with these taller molds when we're trying to do something fairly narrow. Just try to make some nice swirls. It'll look pretty. Yeah, this is kind of a pain having this mold being so high. I don't want to have to smooth it out too much. That's why I'm kind of wanting it to be thinner. But I want the top of this to still be a nice, here, let me just hold it like this. I still want it to be a nice thin layer, or straight layer, I meant. Smells so good. Oh my goodness. I love Andy's mints at Christmas, don't you guys? Oh, they're so good. I'm just going to try to go ahead and get this on and get it to be fairly smooth. Smells so good. And this is why I didn't want to have to concentrate on two at one time. So for the top layer, we're just going to repeat what we did for the bottom layer by putting in the bronze mica. And the coconut milk. And the lye solution. And the fragrance oil. Now this isn't going to matter quite as much on the top, but I do want it to flow out nice and smooth, so I still want this one to be thin. Oh, it smells so good. So I'm going to go ahead and, sticking my fingers in it again. I'm just going to flood this on. And then I'm just gonna get the rest of this on. It's still nice and thin. I'll probably can't decide if I'm gonna give it some texture. I was thinking about giving it some texture, but I don't know, maybe just leave it nice and flat. It does need to be able to fit in the box. So I'm probably just gonna leave it flat now that I think on it a little bit more. And then gonna do the same thing here. I got them caught backwards. Just kind of give them a little shimmy around so it's fairly smooth and even. Starting to get a little bit thick on this end, starting to make a little bit of marks. Okay, so I'm back and I'm going to put on some glitter. I have this adorable little container of watermelon sugar glitter from thegoodglitter.com. It's more of a chunky biodegradable glitter. And my hands are nice and clean. So I'm going to pour out some on that paper towel so I can get a hold of it a little bit easier. Isn't that cute? And now I'm just going to lightly put it on. It does have a little bit of purple in it, but it's got a lot of red and green, and I just love it. I just think it looks so cute. Does it have purple in it, or is it just reflecting purple? I can't tell at the moment. I can't see it very well. It is so cute though. Oh my goodness, I love this. I used a little bit of this glitter on my Christmas wreath sample wax melts. I just thought it turned out super cute. I love the mixture of the thicker glitter with the finer glitter. It's important when you're looking for glitters like this that you take note that they are skin safe, because some are not, which works great for your craft projects. So far I've found the finger application works the best. Let's see if I can just shimmy some of that out. Oh, that is just so pretty. I'm going to just put in a little bit more, I think, and kind of shimmy it out on this one also. Okay, that just looks great. So here we have the Serendipity Holiday Edition soap, and it's going to be so much fun to cut into this one. So I'm going to let them sit for a couple of days, and I'm going to be spraying it pretty liberally with high percentage alcohol so that I can prevent ash. Alright, I'll see you back here for the cut. It's time to cut this holiday edition of the Serendipity soap. We have some of the bars done already, and I think they turned out so cute. I realized after the fact, I want to have some green on it, that I did not do equal layers with the Serendipity batch. The middle was a little bit thicker, and these ones are equal layers. So it's fine. Everything's fine. It'll be great, but that's something I will note for the next time. I believe these bars, we cut it 3.5 inches. We did. And I didn't have much ash. There's just a couple places on the corner. I don't know if you can see that right there. There's a little there. There's a little there. I sprayed it quite a bit. I was on it. I was coming up here over the weekend. I think it was when I made it. Was a weekend, and I was babying it. So I decided the purple in that glitter was not really the most perfect one for a holiday. Still very beautiful, but something a little brighter red and green with some gold would have been fun, but I didn't have anything like that, so that's fine. So my husband cut up these little loaves for me. Isn't that pretty? So cool. Because he is a precision cutter. We do need to cut off just, let's see if I can find a better way to go about this. This is probably going to be about as good as it gets. We just need to, maybe not that much. Looks like we have some pretty big cuts, so, whoa. That probably is fine. So to do that, that needs sharpened or tightened, I do believe. So look, you can see that inside was quite gray. And I admit I was a little bit concerned about that at first. I was like, is this fragrance not going to really go dark? But it did. Let's see what direction we go here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's nice. So let's see. So let's do 3.5. And I think we're in a good position for cutting here. And there we have a bar. So it'll just be the ends that need a little chance to discolor. The rest is looking good. It's a little speckly on the bottom because that hasn't had a lot of airflow. I'm probably going to flip these all over onto their sides is what I'm thinking I'm going to do. So this fragrance is just a little bit different. There's no rosemary mint into this one. It's just a straight peppermint bark, chocolate, and mint. It looks so good. This is such a fun looking bar. Oop. This cutter is from Smith Creek Studio. And I've had it for, I don't know how many years at this point. But at the time that I bought it, it was one of those things where it's not always available, but if you just keep your eye out, it's worth the wait. So Smith Creek Studio is where I got this one. Did I really jinx myself? I did. I did it exactly like I've always done these. Because no, this one doesn't have the end cut. What in the world? I am so confuzzled right now. I'm gonna have to think this one through. I think I know where I got confused. All those little end pieces were just from us slicing off a little bit on each one, but for the actual loaves, I need to get it pretty close here on this part. So, darned it. I do this every single time I make a soap and I have to cut it like this. I do it every time. I've done it with leather and lace. I've done it with Serendipity. I've done it with this one. Oh boy. I forgot my figures. Oh, it smells good. I love Andes mints. Put them in the refrigerator so they're nice and cold. Oh yeah. They're perfect. I love the red in this green. This has just turned out so fun. I'm very happy with this batch. Now, a soap this brown, it's leather. It's going to be a little bit brown. It's just the way it is. And if the lather isn't very brown, it's still going to have, you know, ooze is a really bad name, but, or a bad word for it. But you know, in the soap dish, it's going to be brown. And as you're using it in the shower, it's going to drip brown. That's just what it does. That's just the nature of a brown soap. There's really no getting away from it. Some people don't mind that. Some people really have a thing against it. So, good golly, I'm right there on the edge. So I still need to go a little bit thinner again next time. We'll plane that edge so it's not going to be that big of a deal. Oh boy, I don't do this enough to retain this in my memory. So, I need to just the teeniest, tiniest amount. That's about, you know, I did that last time. This time it's a little bit thinner. I'm going just under 3.5. But for the most part, these are 2.5 by 3.5 by 1.25, so they should still fit in my soap boxes. And that's the way I like it. I tried to make sure that none of my soaps this time would have to be packaged differently in any way. because it kind of throws us off in our preparations for a release if something has to be packaged differently. And the soap always packages up, you know, to ship. So much nicer when they are all uniform in the same box size. So let's see. Ah, here, look, I finally hit it right. Finally. These chunky pieces that we have, this whole bunch of them, those really threw me off. But once again, we had the whole block of soap, and then we sliced a little bit off of each side, and then the loaves, and that's why we have those. But maybe I should make myself a note the next time, for the next time I do this. Probably be in my best interest. Just set this guy here just for a minute. So you can see this soap kind of bleeds onto the paper towels. That's normal in this part of the process. Alright, gotta make it really thin, but it's gonna cut off just a little bit there. So, I pretty much made it. This one looks like it's a little bit ash here. You can't really see it. Chocolate scents really do need a little bit of time to cure because they can smell a little bit wonky at first. So if you make a chocolate soap, you may be a hint concerned at first. But typically if you give it time, it'll come together for you. Loving it. The Serendipity soap was so popular, the rainbow release. I actually wasn't expecting that at all. I had no idea that the brown soap would be so popular, but it was my most requested bring back. It was my most commented on if they missed it. So I was talking with a customer or multiple customers on occasion, and we said, you know what, a holiday soap would be fantastic. And I'm gonna have to, I don't know if you can see that very well, there's a little bump there that now I'm gonna have to fix. So we're on to the last little loaf thing here, and I would have loved to make way more of this, but I think I'm going to end up with just under 50 bars because of my mistake. I think I would have had exactly 50. We do hold back usually 2 to 3 of each item at a release, just kind of as a buffer in case I make an error or something. Sometimes we actually have had inventory errors on the website too. So it's always been nice to have a little bit of a buffer zone. So if you miss something completely at the very first, it may come available later in very small amounts. I'm just going to set this there because this is in the way. I'll probably move all of these soaps onto this one tray. They're going to look pretty all together like that. And then I probably better rotate these again so they get fairly even airflow. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I got a lot of questions on the Serendipity on if the color bled into the middle. Now you can see we're doing pretty good so far. There's no really noticeable bleeding right here. I'm going to show you here in a minute, but right here it's very white right there on the edge. But it could still do it because soap does continue to discolor, and the brown may kind of seep into the middle color over time. That's just what happens. All right, I'm gonna go move this out of the way. Such a fun batch. I'm really glad that some of my customers suggested that I do a holiday version, because it was a great idea. It was just super duper. You know what? I think I'm gonna say goodbye, and I will continue to put these soaps on the tray. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you for the next one. Bye.